Okay, we are back again. When I left off, I was talking about preach the gospel. Um, and was explaining that, um, we can't resort to, like entertainment and stuff to bring people into the church. Um, this is the work and responsibility of every Christian. Every person that is listening to this has been given this commission by God to go into all the world and preach the gospel. All of us must be affecting those within our sphere of influence. We must reach out to those who are near us and give them the opportunity to hear the good news of Jesus. Let us not think that this is only the preacher's job. Let us not think that this is only the leaders of the congregation's job. Let us not think that this is only the job for men. This is the role and work of every person. Let us accept our responsibility. Like I said before it went off, it's not just the preacher or the leader of worship or whatever. It's not just those who have to go into all the world and preach the gospel. It's everyone. Every single person that has been born again has this commission, has been given this commission. And it wasn't just for the disciples after Jesus rose from the dead. It was for everyone that becomes a blood-bought child of God. It's their responsibility to go into the world and preach the gospel. But just going into the world and preaching the gospel doesn't mean, spend everything you have and go into all the world and preach the gospel. That's not what it's talking about. You could going into all the world for you could be going into your community and doing some kind of outreach, or going into a community and getting children and taking them to church, or having church in that community for them, taking church to them instead of them having to come to church. So it's not just for us, the ministers, it's for everyone. The next part is becoming a disciple, whoever believes. Jesus describes what constitutes part of our proclamation to the lost world. Jesus declares whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. When Jesus says that these are the things that must be done to be saved, we ought to pay very close attention. So let us carefully read exactly what Jesus said to know how we can be saved. The first thing Jesus says is that a person must believe. Jesus places an emphasis on belief. What we believe towards salvation is very important. What are we to believe? John tells us in his first letter, who is he who overcomes the world, but he who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. 1 John 5:5. Whoever believes that Jesus is the Christ is born of God. And everyone who loves him, who begot also, loves him who is begotten of him. 1 John 5:1. He who believes in the Son of God has the witness in himself. He who does not believe God has made him a liar, because he has not believed the testimony that God has given of his Son. 1 John 5:10. This was the thrust of Peter's sermon, to cause belief in Jesus. Therefore, let all Israel be assured of this: God has made this Jesus, whom you crucified, both Lord and Christ. Acts 2:36. This was the belief that was necessary for salvation. A person must believe that Jesus is the prophesied one, the Messiah, the Son of God. Our belief is not simply based upon accepting that Jesus lived. Our belief is not just simply believing that Jesus did many wonders, for many people accepted these things while Jesus was alive. A person must believe that Jesus is the Son of God. This is the basis for faith. After reading the whole story of Jesus in the Gospel of Mark, our starting point for faith must be the acceptance that Jesus is who he claimed to be. If we do not believe that Jesus is the Son of God, then we will not be saved. Wow. This also leads us to another necessary implication. A person must understand that he needs to be saved. So it's not enough that you believe that Jesus is the Son of God. You also have to believe that you need salvation. You need the blood of Jesus Christ to cover your sin and to wash your sin away and be your remission for sin. So it's not only that you have to believe that Jesus is the Son of God. You also have to believe that you must and need to be saved. Let's see. This is the very expression that the multitude cries out once Peter completes his sermon. When the people heard this, they were cut to the heart and said to Peter and the other apostles, "Brothers, what shall we do?" Acts 2:37. The people understood that they had violated God's law by crucifying the Son of God, and there was something on their part that needed to be done. Let's see. The next part is belief alone. Now this is where 98% of the religious world stops. Nearly every religious group and denomination teaches that belief is all that is necessary to be saved. Statements are made that you simply need to pray to Jesus and you can be saved. Preachers will tell you to let Jesus come into your heart and you will be saved. Carefully read Jesus' words in Mark 16:16. And tell me if he says that belief is all that needs to be done. Does Jesus say that once you pray to God you can be saved? Does Jesus teach the disciples to let him come into their hearts to be saved? Does Jesus tell the disciples to call upon the name of the Lord to be saved? James writes a letter in a strong effort to try to show the world that belief alone or faith alone cannot save a person. James says, "You believe that God is. You do well." The demons also believe and they shudder. James 2:19. James' point is rather simple. No one believes that demons are saved, yet they believe in God. We see in the scriptures that the demons recognized Jesus and submitted to his power. But that is not what saves a person. James makes the point even clearer, as if this point is not clear enough. You see then that a man is justified by works and not by faith only. James 2:24. This is the only place where faith is attached to the word only or alone. To be justified means to be pronounced innocent. It is a legal term where the judge pounds the gavel and declares the defendant innocent. Very clearly, James says that a person is not saved by faith alone. Belief only will not pronounce us innocent in the courtroom of God. Satan has authored one of his greatest deceptions. What better way to keep people from God than to make them believe that they are saved as soon as they believe? What a deceptive plan to cause people to remain lost in their sins. Let the religious world teach that salvation is by faith alone. Consider Peter's sermon. If belief were enough, why did not Peter tell the multitudes when they asked, "What shall we do?" To believe alone to be saved. May I suggest to you that this was not all that was needed to be saved. This defiles the teachings of the religious world. Yet James's, Peter's, and Jesus' words are very clear. There is more to be done after belief in Jesus as the Son of God. Some of you are probably sitting there thinking, what? You're probably saying, what are you saying that you don't want me to believe? No, I want you to believe, because you have to believe. You have to have faith. Faith has to build up and grow up on the inside of you to believe that you can be saved. But it's not by faith alone. It's not by belief alone that you are saved. Let's go in a little further and see. And is baptized will be saved. Jesus continues, whoever believes and is baptized will be saved. This is a complicated statement to most scholars and commentators. Maybe you can shed a little light on the subject for them. They cannot understand this verse. Maybe you can help them. What two things must be done to be saved? I think Jesus was clear that whoever believes and is baptized will be saved. In the same way we question belief, let us also question baptism. What does it mean for someone to be baptized? How is one to be baptized? Let us look to the New Testament for the answers. In Acts 8, we read that Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch, while traveling on the road to Gaza, the eunuch sees a body of water and asks Philip, "See, here is water. What hinders me from being baptized?" This ought to be our first clue that baptism requires much water. Further, in Acts 8:38, both Philip and the eunuch went down into the water. In verse 39, both of them came up out of the water. This suggests that baptism is immersion in water. In fact, when we go to the Greek word for baptism, we find out that the word means to immerse or to submerge. Therefore, Jesus literally said, whoever believes and is immersed will be saved. This shows us that the form of baptism is important. A person cannot be sprinkled and believe that they have been baptized as Jesus said. In the burial of Jesus, we are uniting ourselves with the death and resurrection of Jesus when we are buried in water and then raised up out of the water. No other form is baptism. No other form matches what Jesus commanded or what the early Christians practiced. Since belief and baptism are tied together, we can also understand that The proper belief when